rust, decay, and delay, which is catching up with us. Some of you may recall, I stated about 6 months ago when I was at LaGuardia Airport in one of the great cities of the world, I said it's like, if I took you to Beijing at midnight into their airport and took a blindfold off and then took you to LaGuardia, the greatest cities in the world, and took the blindfold off and said, where are you? You would think you were in the United States in Beijing, and you would think you're in a developing country at LaGuardia. Well, I got roundly criticized for that. For everybody except the people who count. Next time I landed in LaGuardia, about 3 weeks later, my Air Force pilot, or Air Force 2, said jokingly, Mr. Vice President, is it safe to land in LaGuardia? Meaning the reception I'd get. As I came back from the responsibility I exercised in the city, there were 8 people dressed with the yellow stripe across their brown jackets, waiting to see me at the steps of the plane. I thought, uh-oh, what's the problem here? It was the airport manager and the folks who work there. They all extended their hands and said, thank you. You're absolutely right. 4 months later, the governor announced a new multi-billion-dollar program to take all the 5 regional airports and modernize them. How can we, in the United States of America, one of the busiest airports in America, have a sign on an escalator saying, cannot be repaired until March? How can that be? How can you continue to put up, as this state grows, with the congestion and the accidents, sit outside here? Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, there's no reason we should be 28th in the world in anything at all. And so we're in a position now that we can make enormous progress. Because I promise you, although I got elected when I was a kid, I've never been more optimistic about the future of America than I am today. Think about it, folks. I remember being down here for another purpose in 2008. And I remember speaking to your Chamber of Commerce. And I remember someone telling me that it was inevitable that China was going to eat our lunch. China would be the leading economy in the world by the time we got to the mid-teens. And I asked the audience, about the size of this audience in a restaurant, how many people, I don't know if you were there, Dick, but how many people in here think the European Union is a more powerful economic entity? And I made a bet with everybody. I don't remember the names, so I'm not going to be able to collect. But ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand if you think the EU is an economic powerhouse we cannot compete with. Raise your hand if you think China is an economy we cannot compete with. We are the most productive nation in the world. We have the most innovative people in the world. And we are positioned to lead the world in the 21st century economically. And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, and I'll conclude with this, there's only one thing that stands in the way, and that is if we do not invest in a crumbling infrastructure that this country deserves so much better for. We can not only afford it, it's clear we cannot fail to act. We can't afford the status quo.